Congratulations, Tarnish. You've made it to the big one. The Golden Goddess herself. The boss that launched 1,000 rage quits and 1,000,000 YouTube flex videos. Malenia, Blade of Miquella. The woman, the myth, the professional trauma dealer. She isn't just a boss fight, she's a hazing ritual. FromSoft's ultimate prank. They didn't just build her to be hard. They built her to ruin your life. And then made sure the entire internet would know about it. You don't fight Malenia, you survive her, you endure her, and if you're lucky, you get to brag about it until some guy with no armor and a pot on his head shows up and makes you feel useless anyway. But here's the real kicker, the fight isn't even the worst part. The joke starts long before the fog gate. To meet Malenia, you've got to earn it, and earn it in FromSoft terms means hours of punishment just to knock on her front door. The first time you hear her name, it's already a warning label. Blade of Miquella sounds poetic, like something out of an old ballad, but in FromSoft language, it basically translates to, you're about to die, a lot. They talk about her like she's a saint, a goddess, a warrior of impossible beauty and grace, which in this universe only means one thing. She's going to dismantle you like IKEA furniture and leave you wondering if you even know how to play the video game. Her reputation arrives hours before she does, hanging over the lands between like a bad smell. Step 1 in your magical mystery tour of suffering, find the first half of the Haligtree secret medallion. Where is it? Oh, just in a backwater village full of half-melted freaks, who look like they were designed by H.R. Geiger on a hangover. You stumble into the village of the Albinarics, and of course, FromSoft doesn't just hand you the medallion. No, you've got to smack a pot. Not smash, not loot, but smack. And out pops an old man coughing up riddles and exposition, handing you half the key to the most sadistic theme park ride in the game. FromSoft loves this stuff. The fate of the world, the path of the hardest boss in the game, hidden behind a breakable jar. Imagine Lord of the Rings, except Frodo just whacks a vase and Bree, and out falls half of the one ring. That's the level of nonsense we're dealing with here. Now, for the second half, which means marching your way up to Castle Sol. Perched on the frozen cliffs of the mountaintops of the Giant. And let me tell you, this place doesn't mess around. Castle Sol is the kind of area that makes you question your life choices. The enemies hit like trucks, the sky looks like the end of days, and every corner is just another invitation to suffer. And then you meet Commander Neil. Commander Neil is basically FromSoft's way of asking, so, you wanted Malenia? Prove it. He fights like the world's most toxic bar bouncer, backed up by 2 of his drunken mates. It's not elegant, and it's definitely not balanced. It's just pure chaos. By the time you finally drag his frozen carcass into the dirt, you've earned the second half of the medallion. Congratulations, you're officially ready for even more pain. So you've got both halves of the medallion. You've beaten Commander Neil and his drunk uncles. You've smacked an old man out of a pot, and now you're thinking, finally, I'm on the home stretch. Wrong. You're about to enter FromSoft's idea of a comedy sketch, if by comedy you mean ritual humiliation. Welcome to Ordina, liturgical town. On the surface, it looks like another quiet ruin. Maybe a few weak enemies, a chest or two. Nothing to worry about, except the game immediately locks you in a nightmare snow globe called the Everjail and tells you, light 4 candles to break the seal. Sounds simple, right? Sure, except now you're invisible. Half the enemies are invisible, and a gang of Black Knife assassins are camping around every corner like they're speedrunning your nervous system. This isn't a puzzle. This is FromSoft sneaking a stealth mission into your action RPG. And not the fun kind, like sneaking past guards in Metal Gear Solid. No, this is the kind where you crouch in a corner, praying the assassins don't notice your glowing butt while you scramble to find a ladder. Every candle you light feels like less progress and more like an extension of suffering. Light one, die. Light another, die again. By the time you've lit all 4, you're not celebrating, you're bargaining with God. But when the final flame goes up and the barrier shatters, you're rewarded with the one thing FromSoft loves to give you, a teleporter. No fanfare, no grand reveal, just ding, you may now access pure hell. Step through the portal and for a second, just a second, you forget your misery. Because Miquella's Haligtree is gorgeous. Massive roots stretching into heavens, branches glittering with eternal frost. It looks holy, sacred, untouchable. The kind of place you'd expect to find angels. And then you remember, this is FromSoft. Holy places aren't here to inspire you. They're here to kill you in the most frustrating way possible. The Haligtree is basically a giant vertical death trap. Narrow branches, awkward platforms, enemies positioned to knock you into the abyss. You're not exploring a divine sanctuary, you're auditioning for Circus Delay, where goblins with crossbows take pot shots at you. Every step down is a gamble. Miss a jump? Dead. Misread the camera? Dead. Sneeze too hard? Dead. And the best part? All of this is just the warm-up. The Haligtree isn't the prize. It's the waiting room. Eventually you make it through the arboreal nightmare and into the grand hall. Finally, a bit of solid ground, right? Maybe even a break. Nope. Loretta is here to slap that hope right out of your hands. Loretta, Knight of the Haligtree, is basically a bouncer at Malenia's club. She's not the main act, she's the cover charge. She fights with elegance, grace, and the health bar designed by committee. She's fast. Not Malenia fast, but fast enough to remind you that if you can't keep up with her, you got no chance against what waits below. The fight itself is brutal but fair, in the same way getting run over by a truck is technically fair if you're walking into traffic. By the time you finally bring her down, you earn the right to enter Elphael, and if you thought the tree was bad, oh boy, you're about to tour the basement of despair. So, Loretta's dead, you've proved yourself worthy, and now the game finally lets you into Elphael, the brace of the Haligtree. And let me tell you, if the Haligtree was the waiting room, then Elphael is the ICU. Everything here is rotten, broken, and trying to kill you twice. The moment you step in, the tone shifts. Gone are the glittering branches and holy grandeur. Now it's twisted roots, collapsing walls, and a population density of knights, soldiers, and fungal horrors that would make OSHA shut the whole thing down on sight. And Scarlet Rot? Oh, it's not a mechanic anymore, boys and girls. It's a way of life. It's like the air itself is allergic to you. FromSoft doesn't just throw enemies at you. They throw entire squads. Knights with shields, archers sniping from rafters, pests spitting rot from impossible angles. Half the time you're fighting the enemies. The other half, you're fighting the camera. And in true FromSoft fashion, they place enemies exactly where you'd least want them. Around blind corners, above ladders, guarding doors you absolutely have to go through. It's less a city and more an elaborate prank at your expense. And the layout? Don't even get me started. Elphael is a labyrinth. Not the cool kind with minotaurs and treasure. This is the kind of labyrinth designed by an architect who hated people. Corridors that lead nowhere. Ladders that dump you into ambushes. Hidden nukes filled with enemies that exist solely to stab you in the spine while you're admiring the wallpaper. Every step downward feels like FromSoft whispering, "You sure you still want to meet Malenia?" And of course you do, because you've come this far, but they make damn sure you're crawling by the time you reach her. And here's the thing, it works. Elphael isn't just hard for the sake of hard, it's conditioning. It's a trial by fire that sets the stage for the queen at the bottom. Because by the time you slog through the Scarlet Rot, the death squads, and the architectural war crimes, you're not charging into Malenia's arena with confidence. You're stumbling in like a prisoner to the gallows, exhausted, battered, and half in love with the idea of finally being put out of your misery. That's the brilliance of it. The journey isn't just padding, it's foreplay. And like everything in Elden Ring, it's foreplay designed to hurt you. You reach the bottom of Elphael and there she is, waiting. No fanfare, no build-up, no dramatic cutscene for her descending from the heavens. Just Malenia, sitting, patient. Like she knows you've been dragging yourself through hell just for the privilege to dying to her. And after seeing her sit in that chair, the cutscene does play. And afterwards all you can think is, what the hell did I get myself into? And when the fog gate slams shut, you realize all those memes, all those clips, all those "let me solo her" videos, they weren't exaggerations. They were mercy, because the reality of finding Malenia is so much worse. The first thing you notice, she's fast. Not boss fast, but mini-boss fast. Humanly impossible fast. Every swing, every step, every pirouette is designed to make you feel like you're playing in slow motion. She doesn't just dodge your attacks, she dances around them. Like she's rehearsed this fight 1,000 times, and you're just the clumsy understudy. And then there's the real kicker. She heals. Every hit she lands, even on your shield, refills her health bar. FromSoft basically said, what if we gave the hardest boss in the game lifesteal? That'd be funny, right? It's the gaming equivalent of a mugger who robs you, heals a little, then thanks you for your donations. And then of course, there's the move. The one. The waterfowl dance. She leaps into the air, her sword flashes, and then she descends on you with a flurry of strikes so fast, it looks like your game's frame rate collapsed. If you dodge too early, you're dead. If you dodge too late, you're dead. If you dodge perfectly the first set but not the second, you're dead. In fact, if you dodge perfectly the whole thing, don't worry, she'll just heal it back anyway. Every attempt teaches you something new, usually about the limits of your own sanity. You can feel yourself learning, adapting, improving, and then she heals it all away, and you wonder if progress is just a myth invented to keep the tarnished hopeful. But maybe, just maybe, you drag her down to 0. You've earned that victory, right? Wrong. Cutscene time again. She explodes into a flower the size of a nuclear warhead, wiping out half the arena and turning herself into Malenia, goddess of rot. And if you thought Phase 1 was bad, Phase 2 was her on performance-enhancing drugs. Every move is faster, every hit is deadlier, and now the entire arena is a petri dish of scarlet rot. You can't dodge the ground, you can't block the spores, you can't avoid the decay. She's no longer just a warrior, she's the embodiment of corruption itself. It's grotesque, it's beautiful, it's horrifying. She's an angel and a plague wrapped into one, twirling around the arena like a radioactive ballerina. And the worst part, you kind of admire it. FromSoft designed Phase 2 less like a fight and more like a thesis statement. The Scarlet Rot isn't just her weapon, it's her curse, her fate, her identity. Every step, every swing, every explosion of filth is a reminder that she's not winning, she's decaying, and she's dragging you down with her. By the time you finally land the last hit, you don't feel victorious. You feel empty, drained, like you've just survived a natural disaster. Because that's the truth. Malenia isn't a boss you conquer, she's calamity you endure. Here's the thing about Malenia. She's more than a boss. She's a cultural event. Beating her isn't just a personal achievement, it's a status symbol. The community latched onto her the way medieval bards latched onto dragons. She's the gatekeeper, the final exam, the measuring stick. You beat her, you brag about it. You don't beat her, you tell herself you'll come back later, then quietly uninstall the game. And of course, out of this collective trauma was born a legend. Let me solo her, a naked man in a pot helmet who wades into Malenia's arena alone and dismantles her while you stand in the back like a useless spectator. He became a meme, a hero, a folktale. The guy turned Malenia into his personal side hustle, and somehow that only made the rest of us feel worse. The memes keep coming. Jokes about waterfowl dance, clips of players being shredded in seconds, endless debates about whether she's quote-unquote fair. But that's the brilliance of it. Malenia stopped being a boss fight and became a rite of passage, a shared trauma we laugh about to keep from crying. But here's the part that gets overlooked. Behind all the memes, behind the frustration, behind the broken controllers, Malenia isn't just a monster, she's a tragedy wrapped in gold. She's the most feared warrior in the lands between, but every victory cost her. The Scarlet Rot eats her alive, stripping away everything divine, everything human, until all that's left is suffering dressed in armor. Her grace is masked, her strength is borrowed, every blade she swings is just another attempt to hold herself together. And what drives her? Not glory or conquest, but Miquella. Her devotion to her brother is absolute. But it's not love in the way we understand it, it's bondage. It's loyalty so deep it rots her from the inside out. She's not free, she never was. That's why the fight hurts in more ways than one. Because while you're rolling through Waterfowl Dance for the 20th time, part of you realizes she's not your enemy. She's a mirror. A perfect soldier cursed to fight forever, bleeding herself dry for someone else's dream. In the end, Malenia isn't just the hardest boss in Elden Ring. She's FromSoft distilled into one fight. Gorgeous, cruel, unforgettable. A masterpiece of design and a nightmare of execution. She's not here to be beaten. She's here to remind you that beauty decays, devotion corrupts, and even gods rot in the end. You don't really win against Malenia. You just survive her long enough to crawl away and tell the story. And that's why she lingers. Not because she's impossible, not because she's broken, but because she embodies what FromSoft does best. Making you suffer, making you rage, and then making you reflect. She isn't victory, she's futility polished into gold. Malenia, Blade of Miquella, Goddess of Rot, trauma dealer to millions, and maybe, just maybe, the greatest boss fight ever. I'm done talking now, let's go have a drink.